Hello, this is Lexi and her teddy. She's a 9-year-old domestic short hair cat from England, and I recently took her abroad to Turkey, so I've just popped back online to let you know some of the paperwork you will need if you're thinking of taking your cat abroad. So first of all, you're going to need an EHC 3818. That's an export health certificate, and the number 3818, because that denotes that she's going out of the EU. It's an export certificate that you can get by applying online to DEFRA. DEFRA is the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, and you can go online. You need to register an account, and you fill in the form from there. The form asks for quite a lot of information, but don't worry if you don't have that at the time, because you can save it and you can go back and update it as and when you've got the information they're asking for. They're going to be asking for the date that you're flying, the airline you're using, and the flight number, destination. They're going to be asking the owner's details, if you're the person who's travelling with the cat, and where you're going to be staying once you reach your destination. So a lot of that information you might not have at the moment, so you can just, as I say, pop back on and update that as and when you've booked your flight and you know that you've got space for the cat on the airline. This is the export health certificate. I've just covered up my details there. It's my name and address, not that I live there anymore, and where I was going to be staying once I arrived in Turkey. The back part is the most important, because that's the bit that's filled in by the vet, the OV, and it has to be an OV. They have to look at the cat, check the microchip, do a little health check and make sure that they're okay to travel abroad. You're also going to need a rabies vaccination certificate, which you can get done at your local vet. That needs to be done well before you travel, because you need to get a titer test as well. And this was the problem that me and Lexi hit. The titer test was delayed and it took quite a while to come back. As you can see, ours came back on the 28th of February, and you need that before you get the OV to issue you the export health certificate. So we actually had to cancel one flight because our paperwork wasn't ready. It was annoying, but better to cancel the flight and know that she can get on it than having all the hassle of me travelling out there and coming back for her, or even worse, using a pet agency to transport her out there without me. I also took Lexi's vaccination certificate, but to be honest, they didn't even look at that. They were just interested in the EHC and the rabies titer test. If you're lucky enough for your vet to have an OV on site, that's all good and that's easy. You can take your pet there and have him or her checked out there. My vets didn't do that, so on the DEFRA website there is a drop-down menu. You put in your location of where you are in the country and it brings up a list of registered OVs close to you, or you choose the one nearest to you. Because Lexi is quite unsociable and quite timid with new people, I chose a vet that came to the house, and even that didn't go smoothly. Lexi ran half an hour before the appointment. She hid, and I had to delay the vet coming. My vet was lovely, and she took some time just to sit in the local library until I was able to inform her that Lexi was back in the house. And she came, she checked Lexi out. Really, the most important thing is to check that the microchip is exactly the same as what's going on the certificate, because you've got to prove that that animal is registered to you. Otherwise, you could be exporting anyone's pet, and that's not good. In order to get the EHC, you have to provide your flight details. I chose to fly with Turkish Airlines because they fly they flew daily from London Heathrow, several flights a day, and I just chose a flight that didn't seem to be very busy and had a wide body so that there was lots of seats online. You have to book a window seat. That's the condition of travel, because they say that they don't want other passengers seeing the cat. But that it wasn't a problem. She just came in the cabin with me. You get the choice of whether you want to have them in the cabin, travel with you, or put them in the cargo hold. To me, it's a no-brainer. I wanted her with me. And it's actually the cheaper option to have them with you in a seat. It's £77, roughly that. I've just looked it up what it would be now. It's £77 now from Heathrow to Istanbul. I paid about that, roughly about. But to go in the cargo hold, it's 154. Conditions of having a cat in the cabin with you: it must be in a soft carrier, and the combined weight of the carrier and the cat must be under 8 kilos. Lexi was only 4.2 kilos, so it was pretty easy to find a bag and get her on with me. She's never been in a carrier before because she wasn't one that went to the vet, so we just bought a cheap carrier from Temu, however you call it, trying to stick to the size restrictions, which I'm going to refer to my notes now. The size restrictions are 23 centimetres high, 30 centimetres wide and 40 centimetres long. Mine was slightly over that, but because it was a soft bag, you could like squash it down, and it easily fitted under the seat. And once you're in the air, you can take it out from underneath the seat in front and put it on a seat next to you or put it on your lap. You're just not supposed to get the cat out. I wouldn't get her out anyway because she would just bolt and I'd never get her back, but I did let her poke her head out just to get a bit of air and look round. Everything was geared up really, really well at Heathrow. The staff went out of their way to help us. I was a bit nervous going through the security site thinking she was going to go for an x-ray machine, but you actually go through a different channel. You and the cat are taken into a private room, and they take the carrier and just x-ray the carrier while the cat remains with you in the room. I'll go through what we had to do to actually book her onto the aircraft. I'll go through that and also show you the carrier that we used in another video. She's looking like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth now, but really, honestly, she's not as well behaved as this. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to call it a day on this video now because it's been running for quite a while. But yeah, I'll come back on and we'll go through the other bits and pieces that might be useful information for anyone who's thinking of taking their pet abroad. If there are any questions, yeah, just get in touch with me by leaving a comment and I'll go through them and I'll do my best to answer any queries that you might have.